Hello everyone, Wisteria here. Thank you for tuning in, whether you are tuning in on my podcast or on YouTube. I appreciate it very, very much. Let's continue with the fables. The Lion, the Mouse, and the Fox. A lion was lying asleep at the mouth of his den when a mouse ran over his back and tickled him so that he woke up with a start and began looking about everywhere to see what it was that had disturbed him. A fox, who was looking on, thought he would have a joke at the expense of the lion. So he said, "Well, this is the first time I've seen a lion afraid of a mouse." "Afraid of a mouse?" said the lion. "Not I. It's his bad manners I can't stand." He's not scared of the mouse, he just doesn't like it that it's got bad manners. And obviously, it did startle him, regardless. The Wolf and the Crane. A wolf once got a bone stuck right in his throat. So he went to the crane and begged her to put a long bill down his throat and pull it out. "I'll make it worth your while," he added. The crane did as she was asked and got the bone out quite easily. The wolf thanked her warmly and was just turning away when she cried, "What about that fee of mine?" "Well, what about it?" snapped the wolf, baring his teeth as he spoke. "You can go about boasting that you once put your head into a wolf's mouth and didn't get it bitten off. What more do you want?" It's true, I suppose. Oh, dear me. The Eagle, the Cat, and the Wild Sow. An eagle built her nest at the top of a high tree. A cat, with her family, occupied a hollow in the trunk halfway down, and a wild sow and her young took up their quarters at the foot. They might have got on very well as neighbours, had it not been for the evil cunning of the cat. Climbing up to the eagle's nest, she said to the eagle, "You and I are in the greatest possible danger. That dreadful creature, the sow, who's always to be seen grubbing away at the foot of this tree, well, it means to uproot it, that she may devour your family and mine at her ease." Well, having thus driven the eagle almost out of her senses with terror, the cat climbed down the tree and simply said to the sow, "I must warn you against that dreadful bird, the eagle. She's only waiting for a chance, to fly down and carry off one of your little pigs when you take them out. Yes, she is determined to be fed by your brood." She succeeded in frightening the sow, as she had done the eagle. Then she returned to her hole in the trunk, from which, finding to be afraid, she never came forth by day. Only by night did she creep out, unseen, to procure food for her kittens. The eagle meanwhile, was afraid to stir from her nest, and the sow dared not leave her home among the roots, so that in time both they and their families perished of hunger, and their dead bodies supplied the cat with ample food for a growing family. Oh, that's not very nice of the puddy cat, is it? But, I suppose that's life. It's still not nice. The wolf and the sheep. A wolf was worried and badly bitten by dogs, and lay a long time for dead. By and by began to revive, and, feeling very hungry, called out to a passing sheep and said, "Would you kindly bring me some water from the stream close by? I can manage about meat, if only I could get something to drink." But this sheep was no fool. "I can quite understand," said he, "that if I brought you the water, you would have no difficulty about the meat. Good morning." If you don't get that, it's because he would have eaten the sheep had he had the strength from the water to be able to do so. That's what it meant. The tunny fish and the dolphin. A tunny fish was chased by a dolphin and splashed through the water at a great rate. But the dolphin gradually gained upon him and was just about to seize him when the force of his flight carried the tunny on to a sandbank. In the heat of the chase, the dolphin followed him, and there they both lay, out of water, gasping for dear life. When the tunny saw that his enemy was doomed like himself, he said, "I don't know. I guess I don't mind having to die now, for I see that he who is the cause of my death is about to share that very same fate." The next is called The Three Tradesmen. The citizens of a certain city were debating about the best material to use in the fortifications which were about to be erected for the greater security of the town. A carpenter got up and advised the use of wood, which he said was readily procurable and easily worked. A stonemason objected to wood on the ground that it was so inflammable and recommended stones instead. Then a tanner got on his legs and said, "In my opinion, there's nothing like leather." Every man for himself. That's where the saying comes from. It comes from that, every man for themselves. And fortifications means like they were building something to have some sort of like naughty party thing. Yeah. The mouse and the bull. The bull gave chase to a mouse which had bitten him on his nose. But the mouse was too quick for him and slipped into a hole in the wall. The bull charged furiously into the wall again and again until he was tired out and sank down to the ground exhausted with his efforts. When all was quiet, the mouse darted out and bit him again. Beside himself with rage, he started to his feet, but by that time the mouse was back in his hole again, and he could do nothing but bellow and fume in helpless anger. Presently he heard a shrill little voice say from inside the wall, "You big fellows don't always have it your own way. You see, sometimes we little ones come off best." The lesson in that is, the battle is not always to be strong. It's very true indeed, I suppose. Obviously, if you understand what that means. Sometimes wits are better than strength and such. That's what that kind of means. Thank you for listening to this episode of Aesop's Fables, and many blessings.